Metro Police investigating 4 deadly incidents over the last 3 days, leaving 6 people dead this final weekend of 2025. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Marie Mortera, and one of those incidents saw a man charged with 2 counts of open murder after he allegedly killed his parents with an unknown object. Our Will Silverstein has been following the case and joins us now with the latest.
Police say a man called 911 on Saturday night claiming he had killed someone and intended to harm himself. Officers detained 27-year-old Adrian Bailey at the intersection of Fogg and Stewart near Keller Middle School. The bodies of his parents found at a residence also on the eastern side of the valley.
You want to be proactive even before it even gets to violence.
That's licensed therapist Dr. Sheldon Jacobs speaking to News 3 just days after the deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner. The famed director and his wife were allegedly murdered by their son, Nick Reiner. Now, less than 2 weeks after those shocking deaths, an alleged double parricide hitting Las Vegas. Adrian Bailey was booked into Clark County Detention Center on 2 counts of open murder with a deadly weapon. The victims, his parents. It's unknown at this time what spurred Bailey's alleged actions, but Jacobs says if something does not seem right about a loved one in your life, it's time to take action.
If they're, making threats, if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, around a loved one, that might be an important sign or indicator that more support is needed.
The similarities were so crazy. Aligned with what happened to me.
Russ Smethers, a local pastor, was stabbed 21 times by his stepson a few years ago. He spoke with our Jane Davenport about his ordeal.
One evening when I was cooking dinner, he came in from the backyard with a butcher knife in his hand and started wailing away on me.
Smethers feeling compelled to write into News 3 as a way to guide the Reiner family through grief and what our viewers should know. Speaking of what our viewers should know, here is Dr. Jacobs with what to do if a relative is going through a mental health struggle. His advice: take time to listen and then take action.
What is it, that they're needing? And if they're not able to communicate that, or convey, what it is that they're needing, and then that's where you may want to turn to other resources or supports in the community to kind of see, what can be done.
Some important reminders there from Dr. Jacobs. Now, as far as Bailey is concerned, his next court date is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
This afternoon, Metro Police were called to the scene of another homicide near Desert Inn Road and Maryland Parkway. Officials say a man and his car were shot and killed following an argument in the middle of the street with a group of people. That group then left, though it's unclear exactly how many people there were or what type of car they drove off in.
3 to 4 individuals is what we have so far. And as far as descriptions, we don't have a description yet, but we're currently talking to witnesses and reviewing surveillance video. We don't have a car maker model at this time. There were several cars during the incident, so we don't know what's suspect related.
Police are asking anyone with any information about the incident to call Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555. The man accused of killing his cellmate at the county jail refused to appear in court this morning. Corrections officers say they were conducting routine checks just before 11:30 Friday night when they saw a man motionless in his cell suffering from blunt force injuries. That man later pronounced dead. Metro says the man and his cellmate, 41-year-old Chad Ollinger, identified by media reports as a former reality TV star, had gotten into a physical altercation. The suspect due back in court Tuesday. Metro Police also continue to investigate a murder-suicide that happened Friday night near Warm Springs in Fort Apache. Officers were called to the area for a welfare check when they heard gunshots. SWAT was called to the scene, and after making entry, they say they found a woman who had been stabbed and a man with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Both are pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives believe the man stabbed the woman before shooting himself. If you have any information about this case, you're also asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Even when you brought strangers over, she would welcome them in.
Tonight, a family is sharing their grief with 5 in Your Sight after a grandmother who survived cancer was tragically killed by her own grandson. Thanks so much for joining us on 5 Plus. We're 5 in Your Sight at 10. I'm Kelly Jackson. Mike Bush has the night off. Police say 81-year-old Fanny Allred was stabbed to death just before the suspect led them on an hours-long stand-up. Hours ago, Brent Solomon sat down with her loved ones who are remembering the matriarch of their family.
This is like a dream nightmare.
Fanny Allred was a fixture in her community. The 81-year-old, who was hearing impaired, was known as a fighter, having just beaten stage 2 colon cancer.
She was like the matriarch of the neighborhood, actually. She's been in her neighborhood 20 plus years, so everybody on the block know her. They looked out for her.
But no one could stop what would happen Sunday morning when the beloved grandmother was met with unthinkable violence. Police say her daughter found her in her own home here on Jenny Drive after being stabbed 6 times. Her grandson, 37-year-old Ronald Allred, quickly named the suspect.
To see her life taken from her tragically. I had no words.
The search led police to Calvary Cemetery, where an officer shot into the suspect's car. He got away. Then to the Crown Mart at Natural Bridge in Union, shutting down the nearby roads for hours as SWAT units negotiated. Eventually, flashbangs and beanbags were used to take the suspect into custody.
The person that I knew would have never done anything like this. If you know anybody struggling with mental health or drug abuse, please help them, because this is very serious. I mean, you see what it did to my family.
Relatives say Allred was a widow and a God-fearing woman who attended Mercy Seat Baptist Church. Before losing her son to gun violence some 15 years ago, she would cook dinner every Sunday.
She said she did that because she wanted all of her children to come home on Sundays.
The beloved grandmother spent some 3 decades in the nursing field.
Unfortunately, you know, with her being so open-hearted, it cost her her life.
Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Allred's 2 dogs, Willow and Rollo, were also stabbed during the attack but are expected to survive. Ronald Allred is being held on a $500,000 bond on charges of first-degree murder, animal abuse, and resisting arrest.
And a fight over gravy turning into a stabbing on a North Las Vegas KFC. And 8 News Now reporter James Schaefer telling us who was charged and if it was really over a fast food order.
A KFC worker ran alongside a North Las Vegas patrol car attempting to get their attention, while just inside, their co-worker suffering from a stab wound, allegedly over gravy. The Saturday scene at Craig Road in Martin Luther King. Police investigating reports of a stabbing, detaining 4 people and recovering a knife. Police say it was around 4 p.m. a KFC customer identified as 32-year-old Gerald Carter left with his meal but became frustrated with something inside his to-go order, returning to the fast food restaurant. A North Las Vegas arrest report indicating Carter became upset about his KFC gravy and said he wanted to speak with the manager. Carter walked to a nearby McDonald's and returned a second time to the KFC asking for a phone number to complain to. He then returned a 3rd time, this time with his uncle, and began to argue at the counter with employees, allegedly, who were insulting him. According to security camera footage, the fight boiling over as Carter got behind the counter and stabbed an employee, punching and wrestling by the drive-thru window, holding them in a severe chokehold. Carter then allegedly knocked out the employee and left until he and his uncle were detained by police. Now, according to the report, Carter said he did get into a fight but denied that he stabbed anyone. Police did find a folding knife in his pocket. He is being held on a $100,000 bail on 1 count of attempted murder with a deadly weapon. Reporting from North Las Vegas, James Schaefer, 8 News Now.
Now, according to that same police report, the unnamed employee who was injured was taken to UMC Trauma. The KFC has remained open.
Prosecutors say he was high and playing video games when he got frustrated and threw his baby against the wall. Today, a Milwaukee man pleaded guilty to child abuse charges. Our Durante Matthews is here with what's next.
Hey, Sam, this was all part of a plea deal. 22-year-old Jalen White will now spend the next decade in prison. Prosecutors say he confessed, but today his attorney said he doesn't exactly remember what happened.
My intentions was never to hurt my baby boy. Everything just happened so quick.
A quick decision causing a lifetime of pain.
I want to take full accountability for my wrongs and my actions.
Tuesday, 22-year-old Jalen White pleaded guilty to child abuse and neglecting a child. The child abuse charge originally said he intentionally caused bodily harm, but he pleaded guilty to recklessly causing it.
I made a mistake. My mind was moving fast.
Prosecutors say in November 2024, he threw his 8-month-old son against the wall after he got frustrated playing NBA 2K. Investigators say the baby had a fractured skull and hemorrhaging. Prosecutors say White changed his story multiple times before confessing.
You have one of the most innocent of innocent victims in our community, hurt by the very person who under the law should protect them and keep them safe, and then attempts to cover up his actions.
White's defense says his memory is fuzzy on the specifics and he panicked.
Mr. White wishes he could tell the court exactly what happened. Unfortunately, being under the influence of marijuana and Percocet at the time, we just don't have that.
The baby was initially not expected to survive, but he did. Prosecutors say to this day, the baby has vision issues, is dependent on a feeding tube, and is seeing multiple specialists weekly. Ultimately, the judge sentenced White to 12 years initial confinement and 7 years extended supervision.
The injuries to your son are extraordinarily significant.
Now, today's sentence does include the time White has already served, which adds up to a little more than a year. Sam?
An alum of the Lion King Broadway musical, dead at 26 years old following a fatal stabbing. Now, Amani Smith's alleged boyfriend, Jordan Jackson Small, charged with murder. The Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office saying in a statement, a 911 call brought emergency responders to an Edison, New Jersey home December 21st, where Smith was discovered suffering from stab wounds. She was rushed to a hospital where she was later pronounced dead. The county prosecutor revealing Jackson Small was arrested without incident and charged with first-degree murder, second-degree endangering the welfare of a child, plus 2 charges surrounding unlawful weapons possession. A GoFundMe page also claiming Smith, who is mom to a 3-year-old son, was dating Jackson Small at the time of her murder. The suspects being held without bail per jail records reviewed by Oxygen.com. Smith found fame as a child star in The Great White Way, portraying young Nala between 2011 and 2012 in Disney's long-running stage adaptation.
Just for everyone watching, there's not a serial killer. But the vast majority of these bodies are people that are living in these homeless encampments